I'd like to take just a couple of minutes to introduce you to the Executive Briefing Service for ConnectWise. This gives you a single dashboard of your entire MSP business all on a single pane of glass. And it's designed to help you make executive management decisions as you run your MSP. So there's three key questions that you need to address when you're running an MSP. One is, will we meet our objectives for the month? Will we meet our objectives for this quarter? And am I utilizing all the resources I have available to meet those objectives? And then the follow-on question is, how do you know? Is it just based on your gut feeling, or do you actually have facts of where you really stand today, where you're going, and how you're going to get there? And that's what the Executive Briefing Service is all about. So let's take a look at what this looks like. We'll go into the menu for the X-ray report at the CXO level. What we're looking at is your entire MSP business out of ConnectWise for this month. So we've put in the date range of this month up to today. The second line down is estimated close. This is your profitability and revenue as it stands today. The line above that is the anticipated close, which shows what you will finish the month at if you continue to work at the same pace. And then there's lots of information on here. So anywhere you see a dot, there's additional tooltip help available just by simply hovering over it. So what if you looked at that estimated and anticipated close and it wasn't where you want to be? Well, then you need to drill down and find out what's going on in your business and do that quickly. So you can go in and see what's already been invoiced this month just by clicking on the invoice line, and you see lots of information displayed across the screen. Anything that's underlined you can click on, and that sorts things, so you can sort it by hours invoiced. You can also look and see if you want to sort things based on perhaps product revenue, if you know you have big product deals this month, to make sure those have been invoiced. And then also you can go in and sort on things like contribution margin, which is your profitability by client, or by company if you're looking things up perhaps alphabetically. So I can see from the list who's been invoiced, but I may need to drill down and see if they've been invoiced accurately. So I can start to drill down at multiple levels. I'll click on a company name, and I can see their different hours. I click on the actual invoice, and I can see the details, actually the line item details of what is on that invoice and what was charged, as well as profitability on that. I can also see for managed contracts, fully managed contracts, how many hours we've spent on that. In this case, it's 1.25 hours. So I'll click on that, and that'll drill down directly to the time entries. What I see is on each date, how much time has been spent. I click on that, and I'm able to see the actual time entry, and clicking again with the 2:45 p.m. entry, I can see literally at the granular level what the time entry was, who did the work, what time it was done, how much time was spent. If you notice over in T&M, this is a fully managed contract, but I've also got an entry that says unbilled and 0.75 hours. So the question is, well, why is that? So I can go back in, click on that unbilled, drill all the way down into the time entry, and see that, in fact, this time was done on the contract, but it's excluded from the contract at the work role or work type level. So you can start to validate that your information's accurate, and you can also see what's been billed and what's going to be billed going forward. So I can see what we've already billed for. I can also do a similar analysis for open invoices, but I may also want to see what's engineering already done that will be billed but hasn't been billed yet. So I can go in under the unbilled or prepaid area, click on that, and see all the details. Again, I can sort things, so I might want to look at time and materials business where perhaps I have a large bill coming to a client. I want to make sure they'll pay it. But in any case, I can always drill down at the client level and can see exactly what's been done by day. And again, on a daily level, drill down and see all the entries that were made by the engineers. Again, getting down to the time entry, the really granular level of the time entries at by the engineers. And the point of this is to make sure that we're spending the time in the right area, and also, candidly, to make sure that we're doing work for clients that will pay the bill. So we've looked at what's happened in the past. Now the question is what's going to happen in the future, and that's all about sales. So we want to look at what sales promised for this month, and will it really close? So we go into the sales forecasted to close area. We see things broken down by the pipeline stage that you define in ConnectWise, and we see some entries there that are marked as red under the expected close date. and under the next date. And what that means is expected close is in the past, and that's not good. And the next date is blank, and that's not good. So if we have a expected close that's in the past, that's marked as red and should be examined and discussed. If we see that we have an opportunity that is not closed, that has no next date, what you're telling me is, I don't know what I'm going to do next to help close this deal, and that needs to be taken care of and examined and discussed. We also see under initial quotes that we have an entry where actually this deal has been closed, as we see by the check mark next to the name of the opportunity, but in fact it's still left in the wrong pipeline stage, and so that's a flag that says that that needs to be moved to a different stage. The final piece we want to look at is engineering and how you're utilizing your engineering resources. Are they reporting their time, and is it billable? Is it the appropriate time spent with the appropriate customers? So what we'll do is we'll click on the Engineering Hours tab down at the bottom of the X-ray report, and what we see is a list of the engineers. We can sort it again by hours invoiced so that we can see who's invoiced the most hours. The yellow and red areas under billable percentage and hours actionable are if you are achieving or coming close to achieving your goal, which is defined in ConnectWise in the member table. And so we can go in and sort on any of the items that are underlined and then drill down. So, for example, under M. Ferguson, we see that the hours actual are 107 when he or she should have reported 136 hours. And their billable percentage is 70.48% when the target is 75% as defined in ConnectWise. So we can go in and start to figure out, well, why is that? Is this person been on vacation, or who are they working for? What's that look like? So again, we can drill all the way down into each of the time entries that they put in by day and see at the time entry level what they've been doing and who that's been reported to and charged against, and if that time's been excluded from the contracts or what have you. Also under scheduled service hours, this is your dispatch function, and the question is, are they teeing up work for engineering to do so that engineering knows what to do next and they minimize their start and stop time between doing tasks. So we break this down by week, we break it down by engineer, and you can see the hours scheduled, the hours open, and the hours closed. And as we drill down, we can see that the hours that are closed, where the ticket's been closed, are marked with check marks, and the ones that are still remaining do not have a check mark next to them. So we've addressed the three key questions for MSP executives in this demonstration. Will we meet or exceed our objectives for the month and for the quarter? And then am I effectively utilizing my resources to achieve the goals? So we looked at this month and looked at the anticipated close, which is where you'll finish the month, as well as the estimated close, which is where you're at today. And the question is, do I need to make any changes in terms of where we're headed? Do I need to make adjustments? As we go forward into looking at the quarter, the question is around sales forecasted to close. Are those realistic? Do we have we seen behavior from clients that in fact they are going to sign those purchase orders and move those deals forward? Or is this more of a wishful thinking type scenario? So being able to drill down on that with more detail is a valuable exercise. And then finally, am I utilizing my resources effectively? That's all around engineering hours. Are we reporting our hours? Are we spending our hours appropriately and in billable time? And then is the dispatch function scheduling their time so that they know what is coming next and they have a minimal amount of start and stop time on engineering tasks? So if you've seen some things that you think might be valuable to your business, you may be asking yourself the question of, well, how long would it take for me to get this information for my MSP? And so I want to just quickly touch on the question around service versus tools. The Executive Briefing Service is a service. We don't ask you to learn any programming. Certainly there is a lot of information to digest, and that's why we do things like the tooltips helps. And so forth. But we're not asking you to learn to do database programming. We're not asking you to learn to use tools. There are some great tools out there, and if you're interested in doing that yourself, I can certainly make some recommendations around that. But what we're providing is a service, and that is we give you the information. We give it to you in a format that you can work with and very quickly turn into action and turn into management decisions. And that's what the Executive Briefing Service is about. So we would love to hear from you. Would love to do some work with you. Essentially, the Executive Briefing Service, we can give you all the technical details, but we install it for you on a Windows server that sits inside your firewall, so your data never leaves your organization, so there's no security risks there. And we do automatic updates every night. So as ConnectWise changes, we do quick updates and work with those changes on a regular basis, and you get those updates every night about 9 o'clock. And so we would love to hear from you and to take the next step with you on the Executive Briefing Service for ConnectWise. The current version is for ConnectWise on-premise. We do have plans to do a ConnectWise cloud version of the Executive Briefing Service, but that will be either later in 2013 or perhaps early 2014. We're still doing the initial R&D on that. So thanks for spending some time with New Haven Technologies today. I'll leave you with one last question, and that is, how do you know when you're running your MSP business, how do you know that you're making management decisions based on facts and not based on preconceived notions or just your gut? And that's a pretty tough way to run a business. So we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to perhaps even do a trial installation of the Executive Briefing Service at your facility on your on-premise ConnectWise and show you what it can mean to you. So by all means, please reach out to us. You see the contact information on the screen, www.newhaventech.com. And please reach out to us, and we'd love to hear from you. Suggestions, comments, or certainly if you're interested in a trial installation, love to do that. And we'll look forward to talking to you again soon.